All right, it's 4:30. So thanks for coming to Move Well, Move Better. Just giving you a quick overview if you haven't been to this class before. We'll start with a core activation series. So we're gonna do 8 different movements for 45 seconds and then 15 seconds rest. Then we'll do a little pickup, 2 movements. In this case, it's gonna be 4, twice, 20 seconds on and 10 seconds rest. And then we're going to go through 3 different circuits. So we'll just be moving from circuit to circuit, and I'll be doing it with you. I'll be looking, it looks like most of you have your cameras off, so we'll just go with it that there aren't any questions, and I'll do my best to give you good feedback and instruction. So thanks for coming, and welcome to Move Well, Move Better. We're going to start in a downward dog position. So you're going to start in downward dog. So just land here, pressing hands into the earth, just starting to feel your breath here. We're going to have a timer going. So you'll just press your hands into the earth and then slide forward into your plank. You'll lower your knees down to the ground. You'll lower everything back down to the ground. Peel your shoulders onto your back. Press back up and then back to your downward dog. Slide forward into plank. Lower knees. Gaze slightly forward. Lower to the earth. Peel shoulders onto the back. Pull belly into the spine. Press. And then come back to your downward dog. Slide forward. Knees down. Lower all the way to the earth. Peel shoulders onto the back, pull belly in, press up, downward dog, slide forward, knees down, and press back up. You'll rest, you'll come onto your back. Press the soles of the feet into the earth. You'll press your feet into the earth, lift your hips, lift your arms above your head, and then lower back down to the earth. Press your feet into the earth, lift your arms up and over your head. Feel that release in the hip flexors and then lower back down. And just keep repeating here. Lifting and lowering. Pressing your feet into the earth, reaching your fingertips behind you, pausing to stretch if that feels good. And just moving up and down, breathing. Nice work, everybody. And then rest. So now you're going to bring your knees in line with your hips. You'll extend your legs up towards the sky, and then you'll bend your knees and tap your heels on the ground. So it will look like a hug of your knees into your chest, an extension of your legs up towards the sky, bend the knees and tap. Hug, extend, bend knees, 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 tap. Rest. I'm going to switch directions here just in case you guys are having a little difficulty seeing me. We're going to reach our arms above our head. Then you'll reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Peel your shoulders and your head off of the earth, reaching fingertips towards knees. Then arms come in line with your ears. Then you'll lower all the way down to the ground. Then once again, you'll reach your fingertips up towards the sky as you peel your shoulders and your head off of the earth, reaching fingertips towards knees. Lowering arms in line with ears, and then coming down all together here. Good, so then reaching fingertips up towards the ceiling, Then to the knees as the shoulders and the head come off of the earth. Lowering hands in line with your head and lowering. Good. Rest. Okay, so we're coming up to stand. And we're going to just do a reverse lunge to balance. So you'll balance on your left leg. You'll hinge, and then you'll step back. And you'll press into your front heel and rise back up to stand. Hinge, and then rise back up. Hinge, rising. So just getting that left glute firing here. And just doing your best to balance. Core engaged, gazing slightly forward. Starting to get some full body movement going here. 2 and 1. We'll switch sides. So now you'll balance on your right foot. You'll balance. Feel the thigh bone rooting into the hip socket. Hinge from your hips. Micro bend in the front knee. You'll come back and then press into your right foot to come to stand. Come back. Driving that left knee forward. So just noticing good balance on your standing leg. And then just driving the left knee forward to get that right glute to engage a little bit more. Hopefully your heart rate is starting to rise. Another 10 seconds. Good, we're gonna come back down to the ground. Just working on shoulder stability here. So your arms will be down by your side, tops of the feet heavy on the earth. And you're just going to externally rotate the shoulders and come into a floor cobra. Lower back down, and then open the thoracic spine. Release back down, and open. Just peeling the shoulders onto the back. Listening to your own breath here. Nice work. Coming up to stand for Cobra. Yeah, so everyone can see me here. So we're just gonna start, sorry, Cobra. I meant air squat. So we're just gonna get everything moving here. So as you press your feet into the earth, notice your hips reaching, right? So the push turns into a reach. So just listening to that chain reaction, that ground reaction force of the push of your feet turning into a reach through your hips. Another 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. We're going to move into our Tabata. So just one moment as I switch timers. And we're going to go in 5, 4, 3, 2. You're going to come into that side lunge position and then balance. Side lunge position, balance. Side lunge, balance. Side lunge, balance. Another 8 seconds, just working on getting a nice stretch through the inner thigh muscle and just using all of your muscles here. You'll rest for 10. We're going to come into mountain climbers. So pressing your hands into the ground, feel your upper back dome, full belly into spine, and just drive your knees in between your chest. Three, two, one, other side. So we'll go onto this side here. Find that nice side lunge position, hip hinging back, and then you'll balance on your right foot, or your left foot in this case, since you're looking the other direction. Nice work, everybody. The softer you land, the more core you're using. So it's good to know, right? And you'll come into a plank. Get ready for mountain climbers. We'll go in 2, 1, driving those knees in between the shoulders. Just getting that heart rate up a little bit. Maybe a slight claw of your fingertips into the earth. Wrist right below shoulders. 3, 2, 1, we're halfway. All right, we're going back to your left side. So press it into the knife edge of your foot and then transfer weight on a standing leg. Knife edge of foot, standing leg. Do your best to keep your pelvis level the whole time. Nice work, everybody. Good. Back to mountain climbers. Press hands into the ground, dome upper back. Gaze slightly forward. 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, back to stand. Coming to that side lunge on your right side. Coming on up, and down, and up, down, up. Just getting used to pressing the knife edge of the right foot down into the ground, and then balancing on the left foot. 3, 2, last round of mountain climbers. Coming into your plank, gazing slightly forward. 3, 2, and driving those knees in between the shoulders. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. All right. We're going back to our 45 seconds on, 15 seconds rest. And you'll have a little break in between sets. 2 minutes, okay? So we're gonna start with dead bug. So dead bug is gonna look like knees in line with your hips, fingertips reaching up towards the ceiling, shoulders sliding onto the back, opposite arm, opposite leg, moving away from each other, keeping the back of your head, your mid-spine, and your tailbone all in connection with the earth. Then we're gonna move to a tap, 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 tap. And then finally, we're gonna do ceiling kicks. So you'll reach your legs up towards the ceiling. You can use your hands on the ground or hold them up towards the sky. And reach those heels to the ceiling and then tap your heels. And we'll just do that, those 3 movements 3 times. So those three times, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds rest. And we're gonna go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. So just notice the back of the head, the mid-spine, the tailbone staying in contact with the earth. Notice that the lower ribs are pulling home. So there's no extension in that thoracic or mid-spine. It's all just staying nice and quiet on the earth as you switch your arms and legs so that you look like a dead bug. Good, rest. So 15-second rest in between. Once again, we're moving to tap, 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 tap. And then we're going, tap, 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 tap. Just noticing navel pulling into spine, pressing through the balls of your feet, feeling inner thigh muscles firing here. Good, rest, all right. 15-second rest. We're reaching our legs up towards the ceiling for ceiling kickers that look like this. And then you can tap your heels, kick, tap, kick, tap. You can have your hands on the ground. You can have your hands up in the air. Good for lower abdominal muscles, rectus abdominis, even into those deep core stabilizers, transversus abdominis. Just really good exercise for creating a nice strong core. All right, rest. We're going back to our first movement, which was dead bug. So you guys are all experts now. I'll just reach my fingertips up towards the ceiling, slide my shoulders onto my back, and my right arm, left leg move away from each other. And I just start to look like a dead bug. And just the slower you go, the more benefit you're gonna get, because you're gonna feel all those deep core stabilizers working here. If we use momentum, we can tend to put more stress on the lower back. So we're looking for that back of head, mid-spine, tailbone, all in one line as you move like a dead bug. You guys are doing great. Awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna go tap, tap again. So again, you'll tap, do your best to keep your balls of feet pressing into the ground. Sometimes we do this with a weight. So you can kind of tap behind you like you're tapping the weight. But just notice all the pieces and parts working as you do this. Pressing through the balls of the feet really makes a difference in getting those inner thigh muscles firing. Good, rest. Legs up in the air. Preparing for our ceiling kicks. So you're just reaching those heels up towards the ceiling, and then you can tap your heels if that feels good. That way you get a little bit more of the drawstring tightening in between the top of your pelvis So that's a little more transversus abdominis, that nice and slow and controlled lower. This is a little more power. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone, right? Nice work. All right, one more round. Time to embody the dead bug. Knees right in line with hips. You can press your hands into your knees and just notice the thigh bones rooting into the hip sockets. I like doing that. It just gives me a better sense that I'm stacked and that I'm getting some really good alignment, core engagement, and just moving as well as I can. And if you choose, you could extend that leg to straight. It might be a little bit much on your lower back. I'm choosing to use my back of head, mid-spine, tailbone connection as my guiding point, whether I extend my legs to straight right now. And my time inside has not given me quite as much time outside. So this feels better right now. So rest. Prepare for tap tap. It's coming up. And we're going. So tapping, then tapping, tap, 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 tap. And just keep on moving up and down, pressing soles, the feet into the ground, and noticing how that changes the way that you move. Nice work. All right, last round here. Legs go up. Getting ready for ceiling kickers. And we're just about ready to go here. 3, 2, and begin. So just reaching those heels up towards the ceiling and then tapping heels. Up towards the ceiling, tap heels. Up, tap, 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 and rest. Nice work. You made it through the first circuit. All right, I'm just going to reset this, and we are going to move on to the second one. So the second one is a little more aerobic. We're going to start with skaters. So you'll start like so, and then you're just going to move from one side to the other, maybe touching the ground if that feels good to you. Then you're going to come into a plank position. You can walk your feet a little bit wider here. What we're going to do is a renegade row and alternate. So you're going to row and then lower a hand, row, lower a hand, row, lower a hand, row, lower a hand. And ideally, we're trying to keep the pelvis as level as possible here. And finally, we're going to do a hop, hop, squat. So you'll hop, hop, and then squat. Hop, hop, squat. Hop, hop, squat. Okay, those are the 3 movements. 9 minutes of fun coming your way. So here we go. We'll go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're doing skaters here, side to side. Just moving from side to side. Maybe touching the earth as you move. Nice work, everybody. "15 seconds. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2. Rest. All right. Plank position. Press your hands away from each other. Then press the heels of the hands towards the balls of the feet. Maybe walk feet a little wider. You're going to row with the right, and then row with the left. Row right, row left. Row right, row left. Just keep alternating, doing your best to keep your hips level, navel pulling into spine, glutes nice and engaged here. 15 seconds. Good, and rest. All right, we're coming up to stand. So it's a hop, hop, squat. The lighter you land, the more core you're using. 10 seconds. Rest. All right, 15-second rest. Catch your breath. Skaters in 10. You guys are experts. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. Twenty seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2. Rest. Nice work. All right. Down to the ground. Plank pose. Press hands into the ground. Tuck toes under. Maybe walk feet a little bit wider to keep that pelvis level. And then row right, row left. Row right, row left. Right, left, right, left. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. 15 seconds. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Good, and rest. All right, another round of hop, hop, squat. We're going 5, 4, 3, 2, hop, hop, squat, hop, squat, squat, hop, hop, squat, hop, squat, hop, hop, squat, hop, hop, squat, hop, squat. Remember that the lighter you land, the more core you're using. Hip hinging here, reaching those hips way back. Good, rest. All right, last time of fun in the circuit. Take a drink of water. We're going 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, skaters. Doing your best to step lightly as you move from side to side. Fifteen seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, rest. Plank. Last round of renegade rows. Tuck toes under, walk feet a little wider, keep pelvis level. 2, 1, go. Rest. All right, last round of hop, hop, squat. Here we go. We're going in 3, 2, hop, hop, squat, squat, hop, hop, squat, hop, hop, squat, hop, hop, squat, hop, hop, squat. All right, nice work. All right, that was the second round. Third round, we're gonna start with core. We're gonna start with supine rotation. And so what that looks like is, let me just restart the clock here. A little different than that fun little black timer we used. Okay, so you'll come onto your back, knees are together, arms are out to the side. You're going to keep your knees close to your chest and keep your opposing shoulder connected to the ground as you let your knees fall over towards the right, okay? Then you're gonna come back to center, and you're gonna repeat that. So you're gonna stay on this one side for 45 seconds, focusing on keeping the opposing shoulder, that would be the left shoulder, rooted on the ground, okay? So one way that you could do that is to reach your arm up towards the ceiling and then feel the shoulder packing into the lat And you'll notice that you have more stability in your back body that way. You can then bring that arm out to be a wing. Then you'll do the same thing on the other side, so packing shoulder into lat. This will be the second 45 seconds. And then you'll be rotating like so. And you'll do that. And just notice here how far you can go, keeping that opposing shoulder on the ground. And then finally, you're gonna come up to stand, and you're gonna get into a, like a snowboarder stance. So you're gonna be kind of like this, and then you'll touch the earth, and then you'll turn the other direction. And you'll touch the earth, so you're rotating from side to side here. So we'll do those 3 for 9 minutes, and then I think we're gonna have around 4. So stay tuned, we'll start the clock, and we'll start with that good, deep rotational work. So arms reaching up towards the ceiling, knees in line with hips. You're gonna tap the left shoulder down, and then slowly rotate over towards your right, going as far as you can, keeping that left shoulder in contact with the ground, and then coming back to center. And then just keep repeating this so that you really start to understand your true rotational mobility level, right? Because a lot of times we use our lower back to do this work, whereas the navel's pulling in and up into the spine, and we're rotating from our mid-spine here. Good. And then once again, take that right arm, reach it up towards the ceiling like you're shaking someone's hand. Then pack the shoulder into the lat, reach it out to the side. And then you're just gonna let your knees hug into each other in your chest as you rotate over towards the left. Just being aware of how far you can go with the shoulder staying in contact with the earth. Coming back to center. And then allowing yourself to really feel the shoulder blade rooting into the earth as you rotate, coming back. Just noticing all the pieces and parts working here. Obliques are a big part of this equation. Three, 2, and rest. Okay, cardio. So you're gonna embody the snowboarder. So your feet are kind of in that position. You're nice and light on your feet. And then as you come down to the ground with your hands, you bend your knees deeply, and then switch directions. So you're just doing a little bit of a snowboard switch here. Getting into those hips. I can feel that little inner thigh muscle action, glutes, core. Another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and back to the ground. Rotation. Knees pressing into each other. Take your fingertips up towards the sky. Nestle shoulders onto back. Arms become wings. Knees drift over towards the right. Just notice how far you can go. Keeping contact with the left shoulder on the ground. Come back to center. And just work on noticing if you can create more mobility here as you slowly allow your knees to move over towards the right. And then slowly bring them back to center. One side is usually easier than the other. So notice that. Reach fingertips up Slide shoulders onto back. Let arms become wings. Knees come in line with the hips and then come in toward your chest. And then just with the knees, start to rotate over to the left and feel the right shoulder blade staying in contact with the earth. And then come back to center and then rotate. Center, rotate. Just notice this side, this is the harder side for me. My right shoulder staying in contact. So it's good to know that, good to just recognize what side might need a little more attention when you're doing workouts. Maybe spending another 30 seconds on one side versus the other, just so you can start to build more balance strength. All right, snowboarder time. Here we go. So get in that nice snowboarder stance, light on your feet. And we'll go in 3, 2, and down on the ground. Switch sides, light on your feet. Just feeling that opening through your hips, inner thigh muscles, core. 10 seconds. 2, 1. All right, last round. Back to the ground. Knees in line with hips. And hug them in toward your chest. Hug your knees towards each other. Take fingertips up towards the sky. Slide shoulders onto back. And then just slowly start to let your knees rotate towards the right. Slowly up through center. And then back to right. And just notice that left shoulder pressing into the ground. Just allowing you to truly rotate from your mid-spine. In times of stress, this is a part of our body that tends to get bound. So this work is really important. Yeah. Nice work. All right, other side. Fingertips up, slide shoulders on the back, reach arms out to the side. And then we'll slowly start to let knees drift over towards the left, back to center, left, back to center. And just noticing that right shoulder nestling onto your back, keeping that webbing of support so that you can rotate from that mid-spine. Nice work, everybody. All right, snowboarder time. So just think about being light in your feet here. Getting ready to hang 10. So here we go. Squatting and then just changing directions. And just moving from side to side. Ten seconds. All right, nice work, everybody. Last round of fun. We'll stop the clock for a sec here and reload. Okay, we're gonna work on a little bit more opening through the front body this round. So let me show you what we're gonna do. You're going to first be on your back. You're gonna lift your hips up like so. And then you're going to press into one leg and lift the other leg up and then lower back down. So we'll get into one glute, we'll lower down, and then we'll get into the other glute. So we'll move from side to side here. Just alternating, doing our best to keep the pelvis level as we lift and lower the hips. The other options, you can keep your hips lifted here. We did this the other day, but you can just lift one knee in line with your hip, and then the other knee. So that might feel better, and you're gonna feel a lot of engagement in the glutes here. And this will come in handy for our next movement. We're gonna come onto our hands and press into our feet, and then lift our hips up. And lower down, and then lift our hips up. And lower down, and lift our hips up, and lower down. And then finally, we'll come into a plank position, and we're going to reach our knee towards our elbow, come back to center, knee towards elbow, knee towards elbow, knee towards elbow. So those are 3 movements. Here we go. We're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna do both hips lifted, and then just lift one knee in line with hip. Lower down, keep those hips lifted, and do the other one. Because I feel like I can get the most out of this with my pelvis staying level. I can use my elbows to help stabilize me a little bit, or if I want to challenge myself, I can reach my fingertips up towards the ceiling. That's definitely more challenging because now those glutes have to do a lot more work. Just keeping those hips lifted. Good. Okay, so we're in that reverse table position. Our fingertips are pointing towards us. What we're doing here is we're just lifting our hips up. If it feels better to just kind of hang out here and receive, you can. Or you can make it more of an aerobic motion. So just listen to your body and do whatever feels good to you. Nice work. All right, plank. So we're gonna come into plank, and we're gonna bring the knee in towards the elbow. So it's gonna be looking like this to either side. Lifting up towards the elbow. Two, 1. All right, 2 rounds to go. You guys are doing great. Coming back down to the ground. We're gonna lift the hips up. And you can lift your fingertips up towards the ceiling if you'd like to. We're lifting one knee in line with the hip, and then the other, keeping those hips lifted the entire time so that you're really working on that drawstring tightening in between the top of your pelvis, as well as the glutes firing. So just really focusing on all that good deep core stabilization. Feeling those glutes really working here. Maybe one's working harder than the other. Very common. Once again, good to listen to. And maybe give one glute a little more love, like a more 30 seconds of activation than the other, so that they can work a little bit more in harmony. And then we're just thrusting those hips up, creating a little bit more opening through the front body. Good, and rest. Great. Plank. So pressing your hands into the ground, spreading your fingers nice and wide, clawing the earth, pressing your hands away from each other and then towards the balls of the feet, and then one knee to elbow, other knee to elbow. I'm just switching sides here. Ten seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right, last round of fun. Here we go. Down to the ground, hips up. Just noticing pubic bone tucking towards the navel here. Keeping that pelvis level. Lifting one knee in line with the hip, other knee in line with the hip. And just choosing whether you want your arms up towards the ceiling, you want your elbows pressing into the ground. Just listening. Rest. Reverse table. Here we go. Pressing fingertips towards each other, feeling that opening through the chest. Here we go. Hips lift. Make sure you're hinging from your hips here. So those hip creases, so if you were to put your fingertips in your hip creases, they would pinch. So just notice that maybe as you're moving up and down here. Almost done. Rest. All right. Last round. Okay. Plank. So pressing hands into the ground, fingertips pressing into the earth. Getting that nice stable plank position. And then knee to elbow. 10 seconds. You got this. 5, 4, 3, 2, rest. All right, nice work. We have time for a little cool down. So come on your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Cross your right leg over your left. And then just let your knees fall over towards the left as your right arm comes into cactus. And just take some deep breaths here.
Control your breathing.
Just noticing navel pulling into spine. Maybe placing that left hand on the top of the right knee so that you can just get a little bit deeper stretch. Noticing the inhale, creating more length in your spine. And then as you exhale, feel the navel pull in and up, and you might be able to rotate a little bit more. Notice where you feel the unwinding occurring here. Nice, and then slowly come back up through center, unwind, cross left knee over right, and then just let your left arm come out into cactus, place your right hand on the top of the left knee. Engage how far you go by that shoulder, right? So that left shoulder wants to stay in contact with the earth. Usually you're looking over the left shoulder here. Just breathing. And just feeling a nice little ring out of self after that good workout. Slowly coming back to center, unwinding knees into chest. And then just let the soles of the feet come in towards each other as your knees go nice and wide here. And just breathe. Maybe you place your hands on your inner thighs so that you can just feel a little bit of heaviness there as you press your feet into each other. And then just gently offer the pubic bone a little bit more towards your navel. Maybe you decide to stay here and just place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Maybe you spend a few breaths here and then just end up allowing your arms to extend out to the side. Maybe your legs lengthen as well. And you just take a little bit of time here to receive. Just as much time as you need. Thank you so much for coming to class. May you all be well, and I look forward to seeing you the next time that we have class.